I'll never forget this night. The pizza place I worked at was about to close, and I was getting ready to go home when the phone rang. I was working the counter alone that night, so I was taking calls. I picked up the phone. There was complete silence, so I hung up. About a minute later, the phone rang again. I picked up, still silence. I was about to hang up again when I heard the very weak and cold voice of an old woman on the other end. She said she wanted a regular pie delivered. I remained polite on the phone, but on the inside I was screaming. I just wanted to get home and end my shift. I called out to my boss that somebody was requesting a delivery. He told me I had to go. I was upset at first, but then I realized it was another tip, and the old ones usually tipped the most, so I decided it was okay. I took down the address and told her it would be there soon, but she had already hung up. I thought that was rude, but I ignored it and yelled to the chef that I needed one regular. My boss told me to just go home after the delivery since the place would be closed. So, a little before 10 o'clock, I got in my car and put the address into my GPS. The house was 7 miles away. The GPS took me to the quiet side of town. I arrived at the house. It was a small, one-floor house on a very quiet and empty block. I took the pizza, walked up to the door, and rang the doorbell. There were no lights on in the house. I hoped she hadn't given me the wrong address. I rang the doorbell again. Still no answer. I was about to give up when I turned my head and saw somebody standing at the window. I got a little freaked out and backed up at first, but eventually I got closer to the window to see the person. It was an old woman, probably in her late 70s. She was just staring at me with a blank expression. I yelled through the glass that I had her pizza. She didn't react, so I screamed it louder. Suddenly, a big smile ran across her face. Not a pleasant, genuine smile, but a smile that sent chills down my spine. I still remember that exact face she made through the window. I decided I was freaked out enough. I got back to my car and set the pizza in the passenger seat. I had to text my boss about this. I shot him a quick text, started my car, and got ready to get the hell away. I looked to my right for one more glance, and there she was, standing right outside my passenger side window, giving me the same stare. I threw the car into drive and floored it down the street, not looking back. My boss never made me do a late-night delivery again.
I began walking over. "Excuse me," I said. The person didn't move an inch. "Excuse me," I said again, louder. Then from behind me I heard, "Over here! I want to show you something." I turned around to see a man poking his head out from the corner of the house, looking at me with a crazed smile. I freaked out, turned around and ran around the house in the opposite direction back to my car, for some reason still holding the pizza. I got in, started it, and got away from there as fast as I could. On my way back to the pizzeria, I pulled over and called the police. Eventually, I was informed that there was no sign of anybody having been in that house for a long time. I quit my delivery job a few days after that. I have no idea what would have happened to me if I had gone up to that man, but to this day, I still wish I had just turned my head to see who or what was sitting in that patio chair. I was doing late-night deliveries during this particular shift. I lived in the Poconos. It was very rural up there. I often found myself driving down roads surrounded by nothing but trees. This night was dark and foggy. I was taking a shortcut to town that I'd used many times before when I suddenly slammed on the brakes. Somebody had jumped out from the bushes onto the road. The sickening bump and thump from the front of my car confirmed I'd hit the person. I put my hand to my forehead, cursing to myself. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I had just hit someone. I got out of my car and checked. It was a man wearing a black hoodie with the hood up. He lay motionless by my front tire. I had no idea what to do. I was panicking. Why the hell was this guy in the middle of nowhere? Why did he jump in front of my car? Then things got weirder. I heard a scream for help coming from the woods to my left. Somebody was in trouble. I looked at the man I'd hit. He was still on the ground, motionless. I'd only be gone for a minute, I figured. For whatever stupid reason, I thought it was okay to leave him and go into the woods. I moved toward where I'd heard the scream, hoping to hear another, but there was total silence except for the night creatures. "Where are you?" I yelled. At that moment, I heard the sound of a foot crushing leaves on the ground. I turned toward the sound, and even in the dark and fog, I could make out the figure of somebody hiding behind a tree, watching me. I ran as fast as I could back to my car, looking behind me constantly to make sure I wasn't being followed. When I got back to my car, the man I'd hit was gone. I didn't stick around to wonder where he went. I jumped in and sped off down the road. My heart was racing the whole drive, but I still ended up delivering the pizza. I got to the house and rang the bell. A middle-aged woman answered. After she paid me, I noticed her eyes focused on something behind me. Then she asked, "They let you guys have delivery partners now?" I was confused. "What do you mean?" "You've got someone with you in your car." I felt a pain in my stomach as I turned and looked. There was somebody sitting in the back seat of my car. I called the cops using the woman's phone. They arrived shortly after, but the person in the back seat was already gone. The scariest part? The police found a blood-stained knife on the floor of my car where the man had been hiding. This memory still haunts me every day. I can genuinely tell you, it's painfully scary to even imagine how things could have turned out if I hadn't completed that delivery.